Yo, yo, yo. What's good? What's good? It's Stormy B Man, and I am back. Welcoming you to Nerds on Culture with Stormy B Man for this Monday, October 6th, 2025. This is number 136 in the series of Nerds. And we are calling this one The Batmen. Who is the best? We are really going to nerd out on this particular episode because Batman happens to be one of the prominent comic book characters and figures and has gone through all of the media. It has gone through the graphics, the funny pages. It has gone through the old television serials, including a modern series in the 60s that was full of camp and only to be brought back with a little seriousness back in 1989 when we saw Michael Keaton bring Bruce Wayne and The Dark Knight to the screen in a way that hadn't been anticipated. So even up to today, we have had more of these modern versions and takes on the character. So we're going to nerd out on Batman this evening and kind of pose that question like, who's the best? What's the best version of Batman? There's no real right or wrong answer to that because I guess it would come down to your own particular taste. But it's a conversation for us nerds worth having. So with that being said, I want to bring my partner in crime for the show and my co-host, Drew Titan in the building with me this evening, joining me to have this great conversation about the Batman. How you doing, brother?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Nerding out. This is one of those conversations where you're right. This is what you call a fun conversation, because there's no wrong answer. It's up to perception. As a matter of fact, you left somebody off of there, Stormy.
Well, this is like a small collage that I was able to find to kind of draw the interest to the show, but I actually have another that I was going to put up here, and basically we have a few more.
There you go. Because I was about to say, where's Adam West, man?
Yeah, there he is.
Adam West,
hey,
boy.
I'm not cutting us short. I'm not cutting us short.
Good old Adam West, man.
Yeah, you know.
I'm with that.
And let me say that Adam West was pretty cool for his time as Batman.
Yes,
unfortunately, he got typecast in the role, but he wore that, I mean, like, up until forgive me, I don't know everything, but is he still living, Adam West?
No, Adam West passed. He passed a few years ago.
So even up until the later portion of his life, he walked around and carried himself like Bruce Wayne, the character that he played on the television show.
Yeah.
And you know, he was like that. I saw a documentary on him and the characters and people that played in that series. Dude, they were wild, man.
Yeah.
I mean, really wild. They were having what they called free love back in the day.
Yeah, Adam West, what people don't, you know, we clown it now because you look at the Batman 1960 series and it's like, oh, come on. You know, it's crazy. But what you find out is that Adam West, for his time, Adam West was a little over 6 feet tall, and he was a handsome dude. And I think I did see, if we're talking about the same documentary, it was more about Adam West himself.
Right, yes.
And he made a decision because he could have went the Hollywood route because he had the look.
Right.
He could have went the Hollywood route and did all these movies, and the Batman role was his bread and butter, and he lived it up. I think he did some award shows and he showed up as Batman.
Yeah,
I saw one where he showed up in the damn costume and people were laughing, and he said, yeah, you know, how you doing? Have you seen any strange people in the audience today? And it was just so funny. He lived it up, and he was typecasted, but he enjoyed it. And the nerds loved him for it, but he had made a decision. But Adam West did get his share of poontang.
He sure
behind
did.
that costume. Yeah, he did. He did.
Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, the documentary talked about him playing it up with the costume too, because the chicks wanted him in costume. It's just, you know, it's out there because I saw it on YouTube. But anybody, just look up the Adam West documentary on YouTube. It's something else, man. And I just recently saw it, like within the past, I want to say 2 months. 2 months ago, I think I saw this. But it was really entertaining, and I learned a lot, stuff that I didn't even know, man. It was like, man, you think people are buck wild today? People were still buck wild back then. It's just that we didn't have social media and everything, right? Yeah. It's like
a lot of that. You gotta remember those were the Woodstock days. A lot of free love,
man.
Yeah, man. It was Adam West was the godfather of this Batman stuff, man. But there was a Batman movie before the series. It was more serious.
Well, the movie that starred him and Burt Ward was like it was a compilation of the Batman villains, and they had to, you know, capture all of their villains. The Joker and the Penguin and all of them were in that movie. The Riddler, and that movie was the Batman movie, which I actually have it on DVD. It's kind of cool, you know. Um, it's famous for when they were out over the ocean, and the shark had jumped up and tried to get Batman,
Bro.
and he had the bat shark repellent on his utility belt.
Bro, listen. When I saw that, I said, "Come on! How does he have that? How do you know to bring that out the house today?" The bat shark repellent. Whoever thought of that was trolling before trolling was trolling. That was the funniest.
That was so hilarious.
When he went into the ocean and when he came out, he had the shark on his leg.
Yeah.
And then he reached it in. The bat shark repellent. He showed it to the camera. I was like, "Yo, stop, man." Bat shark repellent.
Man, let me tell you something. That was the best Batman.
That was, man. Adam West. That's my Batman. I don't care, man.
That was crazy, bro. That was
Adam
crazy.
West, bro. Oh, man. The bat shark repellent.
And every
You don't
week
get no better than
on
that.
that show, when him and Robin was going up the side of a building, they always go past a window where somebody, movie star, or somebody cameo, open the window and like, Batman, you know.
There's a video. There's a video with all the cameos.
Oh, is it? I haven't seen
there's a
that.
video with all the cameos. I saw it a long time ago. Like people from that era was on it. I think Liberace stuck his head out the
There were
window
so
one day.
many of them, man. Even the Green Hornet and Kato opened the window one time.
They sure did.
It was like
They sure did. They're like, "What are you doing here? What are you doing here?" You gotta consider the time. Did one of the Beatles open a window or something? You know,
dude, there were so many.
The Monkeys or something.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Speaking of the Monkeys, we're gonna have to do them.
A lot of people don't know about them.
Dude, do you remember their car? Because when we were talking about famous cars,
yes,
that episode we did in Nerds where we were talking about the Monkey Mobile.
The Monkey Mobile.
Dude, that vehicle was bad as hell, wasn't it?
The Monkey Mobile. You know what I'm gonna do, right?
Yeah, I know. I shouldn't even say it. I done started some mess.
Tank will be in the Monkey Mobile. Find a way to put him in.
Hey, wait a minute. Let me give you some extra. Remember the flying monkeys from the Wizard of Oz, the Wiz?
Listen to this, right?
Bro. Weren't they green?
Yeah, and they were made into their motorcycles. Do you know that? It's like, remember when they pulled up and the one monkey was like, "Hey, what's happening?" You know what I'm saying? See, I don't forget those things. It's like, oh, hey, we got to do the Wiz, man. We got to bring in a new generation.
Oh, write this down, Stormy. Wheaties box athletes.
Yeah.
Wheaties box.
You know, I got
Here
my
we
little
come.
book right here.
Walking down the street. Hey, with the monkeys. We say monkey around. Yeah, I don't know. Wait a minute. You remember a show called Lancelot Link?
Yep.
Oh, man. Y'all don't know. Watch. See, I've been easy on the monkey jokes. I didn't want to unload the magazine right away. Lancelot Link, Secret Chimp. Man, listen.
Yeah, man. But back to the Batman. Now, I was able to pull up pull up, some of the information. There was a 1940s series on Batman. It was like they had
1940s.
yes, 1940s serials. They had it in 1943 and 1949. In 1943, Batman was a 15-chapter serial film released in 1943 by Columbia Pictures, and was the first appearance of the comic character on film. And the serial starred Lewis Wilson as Batman and Douglas Kroll as Robin. Being a World War II era production, the movie serial, like many of this period, was used as wartime propaganda and had an anti-Japanese bent, with J. Carroll Naish playing the Japanese villain and an original character named Dr. Daka. Rounding out the cast were Shirley Patterson as Linda Page, Bruce Wayne's love interest, and William Austin as Alfred.
Alfred, yeah.
The plot was based on Batman, a U.S. government agent attempting to defeat the Japanese agent Dr. Daka at the height of World War II.
Wow.
Yeah, man. And the 1943 series, I'm sorry, the 1949 series was another 15-chapter serial, and this time they had a gentleman by the name of Robert Lowry playing Batman, while Johnny Duncan played Robin. And the plot dealt with the dynamic duo facing off against the Wizard, a hooded villain whose identity remains a mystery throughout the serial until the end. So those were the first inceptions of the character on film.
The costume, I think I recall seeing the costume in black and white. The ears were very long, weren't they?
Yeah. And there's a DVD release of it. I've seen it several times, and I've thought about picking it up, but I just didn't do it. But and that would be just for collector's sake. But excuse me. Yeah, but there's a I think on that DVD set it includes both serials on that one, the 43 and the 49 versions of Batman.
Wow.
Now the Adam, what were you going to say?
I saw pictures of it. There might be an episode or two on YouTube, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
I never saw. I remember seeing the costume, and I said, "What the hell is this?" I didn't know Batman went back to the 40s.
Yeah, he was actually created just a few years after Superman, because they were looking for another character to kind of offset what was happening with Superman, and they decided to go with a character who didn't have superpowers and strength like that and everything. But the comics at the time were called Detective Comics, and they made, back then it was Millionaire Bruce Wayne had a situation where he had an aversion toward bats and everything, and the story was built up that he was kind of suffering from trauma of his parents being, taken out when he was a child and stuff like that, and he dedicated his life to solving crime and everything, thus the detective in him, and he assumed the identity of a man-sized bat that wore a cloak and a cape and all of that. So there's a tremendous amount of information on the character, and though he was attributed to being created by Bob Kane, it turns out that Bob Kane was not necessarily the man that created the character, and he kind of assumed that persona and everything for so many years and everything. But in modern days, the truth kind of got told about it, but not before Bob Kane enjoyed the the luxuries of
Luxury of it, yeah.
having been the creator, you know. But so Batman came in and became a real popular character, and I think people really took to him too because of the mystery. You know, a guy in a cloak and he prowls around at night, sort of like the other character from that era, the Phantom. You ever heard of the Phantom?
Of course.
Yeah. And Billy Zane actually played the
He
Phantom
the
in
Phantom
a
in
film.
the 90s movie, right? Came out in the
Yeah,
90s. Ghost Who Walks, I think, right?
yeah.
Phantom? Yeah. Flash
So
Gordon's boy.
yeah. So again, but I think the whole mystery about Batman was being hooded and cloaked, the cape and everything, being so mysterious. Because you remember back in those times, the 40s and everything, you know, Dracula and Frankenstein and those monsters from Universal, they were very popular too. So Batman was kind of walking in the shadows of that kind of stuff.
Right, right,
And was
right.
he really a hero, or is he a anti-hero, or is he a vigilante? You know what I'm saying? So he kind of fit in that mysterious area.
Right.
I mean to say
Right.
that really came across as something that people can not only identify with because of the weirdness of it, but again, Superman was, he didn't have a mask on, his, you know, and he was strong, and everybody can't be with him, be like him, because he came from another planet. He was an alien man. So there were significant differences with the guys, and that's one of the reasons why, again, when you talk about being into these characters, you kind of check mark what you identify with, what you like, what you don't like, and whatever. So Batman became very popular, and it's no mistake that Spider-Man is equally as popular. If you were to say the two most popular comic book characters, it would probably be Spider-Man and Batman. And it's no coincidence that they're both masked heroes that have, you know,
Yeah.
secret identities.
Don't forget to tell. I want to tell. I don't want to say it online because a lot of people they hear things and they steal ideas, no matter how big or small. But I had thought of a story a long time ago, and I actually started writing it, and that was way back when I was living at my mama house. I don't know what I did with it, but I wrote a story, and I'm gonna write it again, just to do it. But it was involving Batman and somebody else. But the story was just so like, today, it would be crazy. But I'll tell you off air. It was something that just remind me. But Batman became a bit of a favorite because as time went on, the anti-hero became popular.
Yeah.
And it gets to a point where some heroes, they'll be considered heroes, or sometimes they could walk that shade of gray. You saw it in comic books. You saw it with saw it in professional wrestling. There's a lot of popular, the character Stone Cold Steve Austin was a heel. But what happened was, at the time, people just started cheering for him. So he wasn't really a baby face, and he wasn't really a heel because everybody could get it, and people liked that. It brought a sense of realism to a character. So when you see a character like Batman, he walks that line, and he's as human as they get, but he is one of the biggest threats in the DC universe, because if he does his homework on you, he can get you. And that's what makes him a fan favorite. He will get you. If he does homework on you.
Well, yeah, that's what it's called, prep time.
Yep.
Contingency
plan.
Huh?
Yeah. He has, it's on YouTube. He has something called a contingency plan for everything.
Yeah.
He even got a contingency plan for the xenomorphs.
Did you see the cartoon, the Justice League cartoon, where I think they were battling against, was it, I don't think it was Darkseid. Maybe it was Darkseid. But when Green Lantern was like, he was talking crap to Batman, and and Batman was like, telling him, he didn't need his help or whatever, and Green Lantern was like all cocky and everything, and Batman was like, "What does this do?" And he had Green Lantern's ring. Green Lantern didn't even know Batman had took it.
He took it. That was crazy.
He was looking at it like, "What does this do?"
He said, "How the hell does he do this?" I remember when they first did the 90s crossover of Batman Superman, the cartoon, the animated series. And Superman, Batman brought his ass to Metropolis looking for the Joker. And he was like, you're out of town. This is not what we do here. And he uses X-ray vision and looked through his mask. And he was like, "Wayne?" He said, "You peaked." Right? So then he went over there and says, "Look, man, I don't know what you got going on here, but you better go back to where it is." He reached in his utility belt and pulled out a piece of kryptonite this big. And Superman saw it going, "Oh," and he fell on the floor. He said, "You see this?" He said, "It don't take much, does it?" He said, "The Joker has about 2 tons of this moving through Metropolis right now. You might want to leave me alone." So then he leaves. So Superman goes home, flies in through his window. He takes off his cape, and he was like, "What is this beeping noise?" Little buzzer on his joint. He crushed it. He looked out with his super sight. Batman's on top of the building like, "Gotcha. Now I know who you are." Man, Batman is
the funny
no
thing
joke.
about it is, in the animations, when they show Batman doing the cool stuff like that, then he always get that little grin on his face, like that side grin.
Yo.
I love it. But that's why the DC animations are so much better than everybody else, right?
Yeah.
It's like, dude, they carry that through. Now I'm gonna ask you something. We haven't even got into the movies yet, but in BVS, when Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent were at that function, right? Zack Snyder never said it through the script, dialogue, or anything. But it's obvious that Luthor knew who both of them were.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, but isn't it obvious too that Clark knew that Bruce was Batman? Because when remember when on that dock when Batman was chasing the criminals and everything, and Superman appeared, and that was that moment when they met each other face to face for the first time as their real true characters, and he told him, he was like, the next time they flash that signal in the sky, don't show up or whatever. And then Batman asked him, he's like, "Tell me something. Do you bleed?"
Do you bleed? Yep.
Dude, of course Superman can look through his mask and see who he is. But he never said anything. And they kind of just left that. I don't know if that was a mistake by Snyder.
Do you think, you know what I thought? Maybe Batman did enough homework on him. You think he had a problem seeing through lead?
Well, yeah, he definitely has a problem seeing through lead, because that dude that lost his legs, that Lex lured into the courthouse for that hearing against Superman, and blew up the courthouse, the bomb was in a lead-lined wheelchair. Yeah. And Superman couldn't see it.
So you think Batman had a layer of lead on his armor? You think?
It's possible. It's possible, but it was an unspoken thing. They didn't say it. They didn't give us anything. But I want to, before we get to BVS in detail, I just kind of wanted to pose that to you, because you mentioned it from the animation. It's like, you peeked. In other words, he knew who he was. But let's kick it off with Batman 89 with
Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton. Your thoughts on this one, man?
Let me tell you why this was special. 1989, I was in high school. This was when certain things were making a comeback. 1989 was an era where Hollywood was getting a boot, like a reboot of things, and there was certain things being done that were they were bringing our childhood to the silver screen again with updated special effects. Remember, and we might want to talk about this down the road, I think 89 or 90, remember the Dick Tracy film? Didn't that come out around the same time?
With Warren Beatty and
Warren Beatty.
Madonna.
Damn good film.
Yeah.
Damn good film. So
they were
yeah. So they were doing some good things. So I'm gonna tell you what didn't work at first. And we could probably do a show about this too. Casting that we were concerned about but actually worked. And there's two Batmen. The first one was Michael Keaton. When we said Michael Keaton, because Michael Keaton was
comedies and stuff.
He's known for comedy.
Yeah,
he was known for. We was like, man, Batman's supposed to be some dark, beat your. We was like, Michael fucking Keaton, get out of here. But it worked. And then Jack Nicholson as the Joker, forget about it. It worked. When we found that, we was like, Michael Keaton, what? And they was like, yo, you know who's gonna be Joker? We was like, who? We was like, Mike. That was like Jack Nicholson. We was like, yo, nailed it. Nailed it. It just made sense to us. Nailed it. That movie in '89, it set it off. Batman in the movies, it set it off.
Even when they brought Michael Keaton back after all these years and put him in that Flash film, dude, Keaton rocked it, didn't he?
Did.
Even at his older age, he was like, Keaton is Batman, bro. I don't care what nobody says.
Yeah, he's a version of it. He's a version of it, man. And he played that part, man. And that movie was it gave you everything. It gave you a bit of seriousness, but it was kind of spun off. You saw some 1960s things in it, but Gotham was this dark place where it's like, who the hell would live there? In that famous scene when he stops the thugs and the guy says, "What are you?" And he says, "I'm Batman." That's epic. That's epic, man. So Michael Keaton, he's a Batman, a serious one too, because he revamped the movie Batman. He revamped it. So yeah, Michael Keaton.
Yeah,
love that film.
He was pretty awesome, man. Pretty awesome in there. And his Bruce Wayne was like, he was a very, I won't say soft-spoken, but like he didn't speak much. And he did a lot with his eyes and his face expression, and you could tell he was always pondering things. So it was like, it was a totally different portrayal, of course, from Adam West and everything, and we hadn't seen Batman on screen since Adam West, so it was a different thing. And this was a little bit after Christopher Reeve, had played Superman, so it was totally different. Now he played him for 2 films. Batman Returns. Keaton returned and reprised his role. And Tim Burton wanted to do more films, but it turned out that he had some issues with the studios and whatnot, and Joel Schumacher took over, and the films began to take another turn toward the camp aspect, as far as Keaton's films were more serious and darker toned, but the other films, they just kind of went a little campy. Um, did you think that Batman Forever, which was the first Schumacher film,
Mhm.
and did you think that Val Kilmer was okay as Bruce Wayne Batman?
Um, Val Kilmer is an excellent actor. Excellent actor. He fits the mold as a Bruce Wayne. The problem in that film was writing. I don't think casting was necessarily. It just got too clowny for me. It was an amplified version of the 1960s TV show, and at that point, it jumped the shark for me. If y'all don't know what jump the shark is, I'll explain it later. But it jumped the shark with me. You know, Batman Forever. At the time when that came out, I had a girlfriend that worked at the movie theater, and she said, "Yo, y'all want to see Batman?" It was like, "Her, we wasn't doing nothing. We just went in there." And I really wasn't paying attention to it. I wasn't amped to see it at all. You bring in Jim Carrey. Wait, that wasn't Batman Forever, was it? Was that the one with when Jim Carrey as a Riddler? That was it? Or was that?
Yeah, that was Batman Forever.
Okay, so Jim Carrey and Poison Ivy thing. I was just not interested at that point because it just got too clowny for me. They brought in Arnold Schwarzenegger in one of those films. It was just bad.
Yeah, that was Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
That brought in Poison Ivy and Mr. Freeze and Bane.
Yeah, it was just those are just, it was money grabs at that point. You understand what I'm saying? It was I was not impressed with, you know.
I had heard that Val Kilmer really wanted to play the character more. He wanted to be defined as Batman. He wanted that so much, and he didn't, for whatever reason, they didn't bring him back when they decided to do Batman and Robin. But he really wanted that role. He wanted to take over from Michael Keaton, and for whatever reason, the studios, and it was probably due to, you know, the big wigs, you know, the decisions that they make and stuff. It's like, man, you kind of wonder what these people are doing. You know,
they don't care about us. They put too much ego. They're what you call oversensitive. You know, like in movies when they portray artists, and artists could be dicks. The other side is that artists, they take their work very serious, and sometimes they try and make too many personal statements in their work, where the work is really not, it's by you, but it's actually for the public to enjoy. Sometimes you got to keep your artsy shit out of it, which is the problem we had with Marvel Phase 4. I don't want to break that glass, but we talked about that. People tried to insert their own personal gripes and agendas, and it's not for you, it's for us. And you lose an audience like that. And a lot of people didn't like those Batman movies. They probably did well at the box office for its time, but the replay value, you know, that's where the problem lies, you know. And this is a little before, you know, the internet caught fire and things like that. So those the Val Kilmer and the what's his name? Right there next to Michael Keaton.
George Clooney.
George Clooney. I really wasn't amped about those two films at all. I actually, you know, I was in there. We were just talking and drinking and being real ignorant when we went to go see that film. You know, I don't remember anything. I had no replay value. Every time it came on cable, I didn't watch it. They brought back George Clooney at the end of the Flash movie. He realized he was in the wrong dimension when he came out, when that Bruce Wayne came out. That was pretty cute. But no replay value in those. I think those were the two worst Batman right there. And through no fault of the actors, it's the writing. That's all it is. It's the writing.
Yeah. And then they got kind of creepy with their costumes too. Michael Keaton's costume was it was a different take on the Dark Knight, and everything, but more acceptable. But of course, it looked like a black rubber suit. That's what it
Yeah.
looked like, even though it was supposed to be, according to on film, it was supposed to be some type of a armor or whatever. But the Kilmer and Clooney costumes went way over the top,
One of
including the
those
fact that,
things was a thong.
yeah, and Clooney's the armor had nipples on it and stuff like that.
Yeah,
It was
what
like,
the hell was that, bro?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know.
Who the wow?
They
Who
really
thought of that?
they went over top when they did that foolishness. It's like, man, what are you doing?
There was quote unquote woke culture back then. There was always somebody trying to make a statement. I did not think that was funny when he was putting on the uniform and the gloves, the chest plate, the mask, and then he turned around and you see the butt. I was like, what? Whoa, hold on. Why'd they do that? They snuck it in there. I was like, you see right there? See? That's that BS, man.
Mm-hmm.
Do without it. So those two are those are some great actors, but those are some bad movies. Bad movies. Jim Carrey's actually a pretty good actor. But those are some bad films. That actually almost killed it, which is why when they brought I'm sorry, Storm, I'm having a whole lot of brain farts with these names. When they brought in what you call it in the Dark Knight.
Yeah.
When they rehashed it, how many years was there elapsed in that? Over a decade?
Or you mean when they brought the Dark Knight trilogy out?
Yeah.
Well, the Batman Begins was 2005.
Okay. So Christian Bale came in. Those Batman movies.
There's a story about Christian Bale too, because he had played that role where he was nominated, I believe, for an Academy Award for The Mechanic. Do you remember that film that he did where he had turned into that anorexic looking person? He looked like a skeleton. And he went from that to making Batman. So he went from weighing basically like 120 something pounds to putting on 200 pounds, to play Batman. And Christopher Nolan has said, like, dude, you done got too big. You can't even fit in the costume. Because they when they cast someone to be in a role, they start building a suit and everything for them for the role that they're going to play and everything. And Christian Bale had put on so much muscle, he couldn't even fit into the original suit that they had designed for him. So he had to lose some weight. They had to take a few weeks off for him to try to drop weight and everything. But it was a different take on Batman. The story about the parents and everything, that was kind of done well, updated. And the casting, I mean, they had really, really good casting for that film. I think the series dropped off, believe it or not, when Katie Holmes dropped out as Rachel, because there was something about her playing Rachel and Christian Bale that they had a chemistry, and that was during Katie Holmes' time of being with Tom Cruise, and he kind of like didn't want her in the movie and all of that kind of stuff. He was running interference with the woman's career. And so she didn't come back for the sequels, but Maggie Gyllenhaal, Jake Gyllenhaal's sister, came back for Rachel Dawes in those other films. But Nolan tapped into something with Batman, the Dark Knight, the League of Shadows, Ra's al Ghul, the Scarecrow. I think all of that was really well done.
Oh yeah.
Carmine Falcone, you know, the way he did it, he took it like it was real world people,
Yes.
no camp, and made it like these are people like you might open your newspaper and read about these folks. You know what I'm saying? And I really like that. I really like that.
They were able to squeeze in at least 3 characters, and it made sense. It wasn't forced like the previous Batman films. It wasn't forced. It's like you're watching it. Next, you know, he put that mask on and he's throwing this chemical. You're like, oh, that's Scarecrow. And he didn't have a bit part. He was instrumental. He did something, but he wasn't the main boss of the movie. You understand? And you know, it was just those movies. Well,
and the way that Scarecrow did that, you know, those hallucinogens and everything, that was pretty intelligent, I thought.
Yes.
To do that, because what is the greatest grip of fear? What the mind conjures up.
Right.
And they played on that. That was really well done. And if Bruce Wayne hadn't gone through with the League of Shadows, he wouldn't have been able to deal with Scarecrow. But because he had done with some hallucinogens and everything with the League of Shadows, he kind of figured out a way to combat that or whatever. You remember when he switched it on old boy and then he was looking at Batman and he looked like this really demonic character. And he was like, rah, and stuff was running out of his mouth and everything. I was like, man, that was so well done. Man, that was well done.
That's funny.
And then the second film, The Dark Knight, man, I remember because they shot here in Chicago. And there were days when I was going to work and stuff, and they had certain streets closed off where they were shooting the nighttime scenes. And some of those nighttime scenes were like when Joker and Batman were going at it on the street when he had his motorcycle and Joker was shooting a machine gun at him and stuff. And then they were driving on what we call here Lower Wacker Drive, and Batman was chasing him in the Tumbler, and Joker was in that van, and he had like a rocket launcher. Remember that? Yeah. Oh, Joker was crazy as hell.
They captured the essence of him, man. He was a nut.
Oh my goodness. But I remember when they were shooting that film, and I remember the word on it. They were saying that what's my man's name that played Heath Ledger?
Heath Ledger.
They were saying that Heath Ledger's portrayal of the Joker was so good. They were saying that he's going to get nominated for an Academy Award. And they were saying that before the movie even came out. And unfortunately, he passed away before the film got released and everything. But they had wrapped on the film. But there was word about his performance. Dude, I remember so many iconic moments about him playing that character. And that one line that he said to Batman when he was going off the side of the building and Batman saved him from falling to his death, and he was hanging upside down, and he was like, you just couldn't let me go. We're gonna be destined to do this forever.
Man, they captured the essence of how sick. They captured the essence of how sick that dude was, bro.
But do you
they let you know how sick he was in the beginning of the movie as soon as it started. He had everyone double cross each other.
Drew and chat, Ledger was so damn good in this role that he had people spooked on the set. Do you remember with Michael Jai White's character?
Yeah.
And he told him, he was like, you know, because Michael Jai White was like, this clown, this and that. And he didn't like old boy. He was giving him that look. But he said, you see, if you don't do it like this, he's like, Gamble here won't be able to get a nickel for his grandma. I was like, oh man. They was like, well, why don't you tell us what to do? He said, kill the Batman. And they was like, well, why don't you do it? He's like, because if you're good at something, don't do it for free. He was smart as hell. And the funny thing about it was, a lot of that was improvised.
Yep.
A lot of it was improvised. But one of my favorite scenes of the movie is so subtle. This should make you go back and watch the movie.
That's right.
When you see him they were in that parking garage, and Batman was out there, and then remember had the fake Batman out there, right? And he was like, we were just trying to help. He was like, I don't need your help. And the dude was like, why? He's like, you're into, he's like, I'm not wearing hockey pads. Remember, he told the dudes was trying to be like him.
That dude was a mother.
When he walked up on the Joker, no, this is funny. This is the part I'm talking about. When he walked up on the Joker, and the Joker looked around and saw him, and Batman was getting ready to take Joker down, and Joker gave him that look like, oh, you interfering with what I'm doing, you know? But he told the dogs to go get him. He sicked the dogs on Batman. He was like, go get him. And the dogs was biting him and everything. And then the Joker joined in with the dogs and was kicking Batman.
That guy was sick, man. He nailed it. He nailed it.
The Joker was kicking Batman while the dogs was biting him. I was rolling, man. I was like, that dude is actually insane. Do you remember that scene?
I remember the whole movie. I saw it twice. He sicked the dogs on him and then saw kicking him while he was on the damn floor. You know how disrespectful that was? Man. But the infamous scene when he walked out the hospital in that damn dress.
Yeah, in the nurse's outfit.
Man.
And he was trying to set the bomb off. And it wouldn't work.
It wouldn't work
and
at
what's
first.
funny was that was a glitch on the production, but they left it in the film because he was walking, Ledger was walking. And that place that they blew up was an old building that was designed for it was scheduled for demolition anyway. So they let the production blow the building up. It was actually, that's why when you see it actually blow up, there's several different camera views of it because they set the explosions up a certain kind of way so it wouldn't harm anything in the immediate vicinity. But when Ledger walked out of there and he was hitting the thing, and the timer didn't go when it was actually supposed to go to blow off, and that's when he was tapping it like that, and he got into the back of the bus and it went boom, and you saw him duck and he get in real fast and close the door. That was a real reaction because that wasn't scripted. It didn't blow up when it was supposed to, and there was a delay, and then it blew up and it really scared Ledger, so he jumped in the bus. But they left it in the film. Dude,
that's Hollywood magic right there.
Exactly. It was like crazy, bro.
Man.
That whole movie, though, was something else, man. It really was. It really was.
That's good stuff, man.
He told Maggie Gyllenhaal, he was like, he said, you want to know how I got these scars? And he grabbed her face, bro, and pulled her to him with the knife in his hand. he grabbed her face and was like, "Come here." That old guy told him, "You guys need to get out of here." He was like, "You know, you remind me of my father. I hate my father."
You know what?
Yeah, the Joker was crazy in that movie, bro.
Yeah, I
Oh
might watch a little bit of that tonight.
But this is what I'm talking about. It's like it was so well done, you know. So well done. And I know that they had more plans for him, but you know, Ledger passed away. But the third film, The Dark Knight Rises, another tremendous performance by
Christian Bale.
No, the gentleman that played Bane. What's his name?
Oh,
Tom Hardy. Tom, yeah. Is it Tom Hardy? Yeah. Dude, you know Tom Hardy is like 5'9" or something like that.
He looked bigger.
Playing Bane with camera angles and everything, they had him looking like he was like 6'2". And he had put on a certain amount of weight, which, you know, the camera always add 10 to 20 pounds depending on how you know, look or whatever. But Bane, he was something else, man.
They humanized people. There was nothing like superhuman running around in these films at all.
Yeah.
So I appreciated that. And storyline matched up very, very, very well. Storyline matched up very well, man. And they even snuck in, by the time we got to the third film, that I believe that was kind of like elements of Return to the Dark Knight, that book, which is, we need to talk about that too, because that was damn good. Return to the Dark Knight. Old ass Batman comes back. That was really good.
And so after the Nolan films, we didn't see Batman no more until BVS. Now, when I had heard that they cast Ben Affleck as Batman and Bruce Wayne, I was like, oh no, what are you doing? What are you doing? Now, the one thing I thought about was, I was like, well, Ben Affleck got that chin, you know, because Batman was always drawn with that square chin and everything. And I was like, Ben Affleck definitely got the chin. But what I was amazed to see, do you remember the first publicity photo released of him as Batman? It was him standing next to the Batmobile. It was, and the picture was like it looked gray or whatever.
Yes.
And you could see on his cowl, he had the short
ears,
point ears on there. And if you look on here, everybody else's are much longer than his. And a lot of people that like Batman and the Dark Knight from the comics, they kind of took to that. And he looked kind of bulky. He looked like stout, you know, like he was drawn in the comics. And that was pretty cool. So, but I have to say, when I saw the movie, the way Zack Snyder portrayed him, and I think I talked to you about this once before. We were having a conversation about the film, BVS. I had said that Zack Snyder must have had a dream project in his head to make a Batman movie, because you could see the meticulous care that he put into Batman in that film and the way he presented him. Like, do you remember the first time we saw him in the movie when he was in that building and rescuing them ladies that was in there, and the lady told the police, oh, he's still here. And when you saw him up in the wall in the corner like a spider, and then he slid across the wall, it was like out of a scary movie. You know what I'm saying? It was like he was scared. Fearful. Yeah, he was something fearful. And then the warehouse scene Oh my God.
That was
When
violent.
I saw that, I was like, this Batman ain't playing around here, boy. He is something else. I was like,
In other words, touche, because Ben Affleck pulled it off.
he did.
He pulled it off. He made me a believer because I was like, Ben Affleck. And then, like you, I saw the black and white picture of him. He was standing by a Batmobile looking down. And I said, wait a minute. I said, no, it's Ben Affleck. He did Daredevil. I hated the film. I'm done. And then
It was amazing.
you saw it. That scene with it was it an Asian woman, right? And she was like, he's still here. She looks up, and then he runs across and goes out the door. But at the top of the door, you see the cape follow. I was like, yo, if you was in there at that moment and saw that, it'd have freaked you out because now you know you're also dealing with supernatural things. You're wondering what the hell that was, and do you want to pursue it? Me personally, I'd be like, no, get this girl. Let's get the hell out of here. I don't know what that is. I heard about this Batman dude. You know, we got things flying in the sky, and you know, nah. And this is off the heels of Superman and Zod, right? So there's weird things going on.
Right.
I wouldn't deal with it. But then when he fought those villains, those henchmen in that warehouse, Stormy, that's one of the fight scenes
One of the best ever shot, bro.
that you etched it in your mind like, yo, this right here, that was a true superhero fight scene right there.
That was one of the best. And did you, like, you know how we talked about like Thanos beating up the Hulk and Hulk never got his get back, right?
Yeah.
Look how subtle Zack Snyder was in that warehouse scene. Batman is battling all of those guys. One guy shot him and the other guy stabbed him. He got both of those dudes back in the same fight.
Yep.
He got both of them back.
Yep.
And it's like, that's what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
I appreciated that, man, because for years I wondered. I said, man, you know, Batman, how does he not get shot? He's bulletproof. The suit is bulletproof, which made sense. He did get stabbed though. And sidebar.
Like, and he took the doggone knife out and he stabbed the dude back and then he beat him.
He beat his ass too.
And do you remember the one guy that when he took the that crate and flipped the crate and then flipped the dude into the crate, smashed him? I was like, man, Batman ain't taking no prisoners, bro.
Nope. I like how they explain stuff like that, very subtle. Like, if you go back, and this is just a sidebar, to the Daredevil series, the one that was on Netflix, the first Daredevil, first one. If you remember the first 3 or 4 episodes, he was fighting, but he was getting beat up. He was getting cut and stabbed.
Yeah.
And then when he caught up to that dude that did Fisk's clothing, he said, I saw him take a knife, but the knife ain't go through his clothes. What did you make his clothes out of? And then he made Daredevil's uniform out of that same stuff. So now he's bulletproof and knife proof.
Right.
So they explained it, but they humanized him. He could fight and he got hands over the average person, but he can be killed. Right? And I like how they break it down, because now it makes sense. And all I ever wanted, when the Michael Keaton Batman, when he got shot, and a lot of people don't realize this, it's 1989. We was asking that question for years. When he got shot, he got up. You say, oh, the suit's bulletproof. Makes sense. Because now we're going from the 1960s until like, okay, look, there could be a vigilante, but there's certain things that we have to know that he can walk away from or be able to do.
Right.
And bullets is one of them. So that was pretty dope.
Yeah.
So
and then we got a chance to see the armored suit.
Yes. Oh, yes.
That was really dope.
That was nice. That was really nice.
With the white eyes and everything.
Did we do the crossover Did we do the What If crossover on your channel, or was it on Bear Cave?
Crossover for what?
Like if we had some crossovers, like somebody from DC and somebody from Marvel did a crossover movie. Because I can't remember, but I did
that might have been you doing it on Bear Cave, because
it may have been because I did yeah, it may have been me and Ack. I did a What If Batman crossed over with Iron Man, and it was like Tony Stark meets Bruce Wayne. They're both rich and they have a problem and they got to team up. Well, of course they fight at first, but then they got to team up and stop somebody. That'd be pretty dope. But the armor, the Batman armor, man, they nailed that. That was right out of the damn comic book, man.
I liked his training sequence too, when he was prepping himself to get ready for Superman.
Yeah,
that was pretty dope, man.
Ben's in shape, man, ain't he?
Yeah, he was for that. He was. He you know, he pulled it off. He pulled it off. I don't know.
I liked it, man, and I'm really upset that they killed the damn Snyderverse. They're gonna regret this.
I think they already do.
Yeah,
I think they already do.
Why should you start playing with timelines and dimensions and start bringing some people back? Because it's gonna show in there, man. Stormy, I tried to sit through that Superman film, and I think I was on suicide watch for a moment. It's bad.
Now, what did you think of that Robert Pattinson Batman film?
The last Robert Pattinson. Can I be honest?
Yeah.
I couldn't get through it. Every time I put it on, I fell asleep, and it wasn't because I was tired.
I have done the same thing. I've tried to watch that movie about 4 times.
Me too. Why can't I get through that film?
I can't tell you. I can't tell you what happens beyond the point of when he goes to the I guess that's the Penguin's lair, and he's in there and he's talking to old boy, and then he chases old girl in the rain back to her apartment or something. I don't know what happens behind that. I fall asleep. I fall asleep during a Catwoman fight, I think, and then every time I wake up, it's the credits, and he's standing there. And I'm like, damn, I keep doing this. I might have to stand up and watch it, but I couldn't get through it. Yeah,
I couldn't get through it.
I haven't watched it.
Derek Gaines says because it's boring. Yeah. I think
I have not been able to complete that movie, and I've tried 4 different times. I actually took it out because we were going to do this show, and I took it out and put it on my table to try to watch it again. But I haven't even put it on. But I haven't been able to watch that film in its entirety. I just haven't.
What is it supposed to be? It's supposed to be the origin of like year one,
like Batman year 1 or something.
It's supposed to be a sequel to this thing.
Yeah, but James Gunn has held it up because he wants to have a say-so in everything. So that was produced before he took over DC as Warner Brothers DC as a CEO, and he has, but man, let me tell you something. He has really, really messed some stuff up. You and I talked about it, and I don't even want to go there during this show, but personally, Patterson said he didn't want to lift no weights or anything to be Batman. He just wanted to come in and show up with his funky ass on the set and play the character how he gonna play him. And I could say his funky ass because that's not a stretch. They say he's one of those actors in Hollywood that has terrible BO. Terrible. Wow.
Wow. That's bad.
Yeah.
That's bad. So Young Hollywood said it didn't do well in the box office. I didn't go see it. I wasn't amped to see it because, you know, by the time they did this and when we found out we was getting a new Superman, we just said, yo, we just got a new Batman in Affleck. We just got a new Superman that fits. They just did a Black Adam. What are they doing with this Batman? And listen, family, I haven't been up long enough to get through the movie to say, okay, I watched it from start to finish. This is a horrible movie or it's a good movie. No, I literally sit down and watch this thing and I fall asleep every damn time. I can't even tell you how the goddamn Batmobile looks in this damn movie. And I heard, what is it, like a 69 Corvette?
Charger or something. Yeah.
Charger or something? Man, fuck out of here.
And how do you beat? Let me tell you something. The two Batmobiles that were outstanding were the Tumbler from The Dark Knight.
Yes.
Which was so cool when they can go from the driver's seat into the down low and he comes out with the motorcycle. I thought that was genius right there.
Mm-hmm.
And the Batmobile that Ben Affleck was driving in BVS, that sucker was cold as hell too.
It was.
The
Batmobile that Michael Keaton drove, the revamp, that was nice. I like how they did that.
Yeah. But it's like, you know, I don't know, man.
I could do without a Robert Pattinson sequel. I could do without it.
Yeah, I definitely without him. I would have loved to see the Ben Affleck Batman film that he wrote, because they said that was going to be the best portrayal of Batman cinematically that had ever been made. That they said that Ben Affleck's script for Batman, because did you ever see that movie The Raid? We talked about it. The Raid.
Yes.
Okay, where those cops had to go into that building where that drug lord had taken over and they had to fight up through there to get to him, and there was different people on different floors and stuff. Kind of like that Game of Death type theme to go through there. Well, Ben Affleck's Batman film was supposed to be similar to that in the sense that he had to go into Arkham and he found all his villains up in the Arkham.
Man.
And he didn't have all of his gadgets and stuff and had to deal with them going through that. Can you imagine that?
You know, they kind of did that in that video game. So, well, you know what? That'd have been dope.
I'm saying that, but they say the way that Ben Affleck wrote this script, it was outstanding. And we were supposed to find out what happened with Robin. Because remember, in BVS, there's a moment when he walks toward Robin's suit in the glass.
It's there.
And it's there. You know?
Yeah.
So there was just an opportunity for, so much stuff. And even at the end of Justice League, where Bruce Wayne brings them into that abandoned estate. Remember that?
Yeah.
They were going to turn that into the Hall of Justice, and he was like, "We can make a big table here to seat more."
Yeah.
Well, the thing about that was we were supposed to find out why that estate had been abandoned, and it looked like it had been torched or something, and it was like way out somewhere or whatever. And then Luthor was supposed to be putting together the Legion of Doom.
Yep.
And he had Deathstroke there. Remember, he had called what's his name that was playing Deathstroke? He played in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man film. He played Flash Thompson in there. Magliano, something like that, the Italian dude. But he was going to play Deathstroke. And Luther was putting them all together. And I believe that, you know, a lot of people didn't like Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor, but what I liked with what Zack Snyder was doing was he was taking you through these characters where they were going to change. They weren't going to be who they were introduced as. Just like Kal-El wasn't going to remain that stoic dude or whatever, because when he came back from his resurrection and what else was supposed to take place with Darkseid and everything, he was supposed to change after all of that and become the bright, hopeful Superman that we all know.
Right.
And I think that Luther was supposed to go through his transition where he became someone that really hated the heroes, and he would do whatever he could and spend the billions that he made and all of that on trying to do that, all the while assembling these villains. You know, we never got to see those things. We never got to see those story arcs completed. And it's unfortunate because if you look at the Marvel films, they did do those same things. And it took a few years for us to go, oh, I see where they're going. You know what I mean? It's like, it wasn't right away.
A decade.
Yeah. A decade of storytelling that led to us being able to say, oh, wow. Because we saw Tony Stark going from being a selfish, eccentric guy to a guy who ended up laying his life down for everybody. And we saw Cap go from being a guy who would lay his life down for everybody to not being able to trust nobody or the government or anything. Remember, seeing it's like those story arches, they switched. That's why Civil War was so good, because it was like, wow, they have different beliefs now, you know?
Man, all the characters there, storyline is there. DC just failed to execute, and they only have themselves to blame.
And they keep interfering. They keep interfering. Yeah. Dude, even though Black Adam wasn't going to win any damn awards, it was the movie that they needed to help kickstart the stuff.
Catapult so much, man.
Because Black Adam is like, dude, he's definitely an anti-hero. And you'll definitely need the Justice League to try to take him down. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that was what they needed right there. In that post-credit scene where Cal and him are having that conversation.
Oh my God, bro.
It's like, okay, that's just like when we miss Sinestro putting on the yellow ring.
Bro, that was worse though, because that was it right there. Henry Cavill, Superman, and Black Adam, The Rock facing off. There was so much you could have built off of that, man.
And did you notice in that post-credit scene, they did a couple of things with Henry Cavill, Superman. Do you know what they were? Do you remember?
What?
One, the costume was brighter than it was in the Man of Steel films.
Yeah.
It was more vibrant, almost like the comics. Two, he had the curl.
The curl, yeah.
People didn't... Dude, it's so easy to miss it because you know it's Henry Cavill. He steps out. Black Adam, we need to have a talk, you know? But that was it. But the suit, the curl, and there was a third thing that I left out. Oh, the John Williams thing. It was in there. When he stepped out of the shadows and he said that to Black Adam, you hear that. Dun, 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 dun. It was very faint. It was right there.
And now it's gone. Now it's gone. That's gone. Henry Cavill's out. The Rock lost his gains. It's over with. Man, you know what? I'm gonna tell you what it's like when you. How could I say? When you finally get a hold of that woman and you don't finish. That's what that was. That's what that was.
Yeah, man.
It was a punch in the gut, man. But if I'm gonna make a decision, and there's no wrong decision here, I would say, in my opinion, the best Batman Michael Keaton. The reason why I say it is because by the time Michael Keaton put on the Batman costume, first of all, I didn't think he could pull it off, and he did. So I'll give him so much credit for that. And he was taking Batman onto the silver screen on a new level. And it was a more, remember y'all, it was 89, y'all. And Hollywood had a bigger budget, a bigger imagination, and special effects were going through a phase. And for the times, it was perfect. It turned out to be perfect. So everybody built off of that Michael Keaton Batman. And the reason why I say it's true is because in that Flash movie, they brought him back. They did bring back George Clooney at the end, but they brought back for the action, they brought back Keaton because of what he meant to Batman on the silver screen. So I'm going to go with Michael Keaton. And there's no shade to anybody else either.
I can't argue with that. I can't argue with that because the first thing to think about was what Keaton had done prior to playing Batman and how he just turned everyone on to that character that he played. And it takes someone who has talent and charisma and everything to be able to do that. You don't really see them as who that character is until they play them, and then you're like, oh yeah, he was awesome. And I think I would agree with you there. It's kind of similar to when I heard that they had cast Chris Evans as Captain America. You know, I told you that Captain America happens to be my favorite comic character.
Right.
But when I heard him being cast, I was like, well, that's the guy that played the Human Torch, and he was so goofy as the Human Torch and everything, I can't really see it. But then after I saw how they wrote Steve Rogers' character, and Chris Evans totally captured that. And what's really interesting is Chris Evans is nothing like that guy,
right? Which
is a selling point for how good of an actor he is. I mean, and he sold. And you know what really he sold? He sold us on Little Skinny Steve, you know? And that would have been hard to do because that required a lot of special effects and everything. But, you know, when he took the serum and became a big, strong man and everything like that, it was like, now you see that the Little Skinny Steve, the same dude who will fight you in the alley with a garbage can lid, it's like, that's the real Captain America right there. And it's no difference. He's the same man, you know? I thought that was well done. So, but yeah, man, I know you got to get ready to do your pep talk. So,
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Final thoughts, man, real quick.
It's a fun conversation, man. And like I said, y'all, there's no wrong answer. Some of y'all are a little younger, our age, and when y'all saw Batman, depending on which movie you saw, you had different expectations. You know, your pick is your pick. You know what I mean? We're just a little older. I saw Steve Elton and the Mac roasting us in the chat. He said, man, y'all old as fuck. Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
we are.
That's for damn true,
yeah,
man.
I still had a black and white TV in my kitchen once upon a time with a coat hanger for the antenna. So hell yeah, man. But yeah, man, slam dunk again, man. I can't wait to see what we do next week, man. Oh, I love this right here.
Yeah, man.
Yo.
So do I.
Yeah, man. So salute to you, Stormy. I'm gonna head over to Pep Talk, man.
All right, man. And everybody, please take that positive energy right over to Drew for Pep Talk. It's coming up just in a few minutes. So appreciate you, bro. All right. So, guys, here we are at the end of another show here where we did The Batmen. Who's the best? It was quite an enjoyable show. I thank everybody for tuning in with us. And if you didn't smash the like button on the way in, please do so on the way out. And we'll be back next week for another Nerds. So with that being said, we're going to head on out of here. You guys enjoy the rest of your week. And shout out to the mighty LDBC. We'll catch you guys on the next one.